I am successful. I look for and find opportunities where others see nothing. I am a lifetime learner. I am solution focused. I see only solutions. I am a solution. So I'd like to formally welcome you to the Be Transformed Tribe on Clubhouse. I'm the catalyst and my name is Lanre Olusola. And this is your dual, go-to space for very practical, spirit, mind transforming conversations that empower you to overcome life's biggest challenges. And together, we'll transform your mind, empower your spirit, and activate you to be all that you were created to be. Now, tonight, we're talking about one very naughty situation, one very naughty challenge that we all have. How do we end relationships? Or how do we end those relationships peacefully and amicably? It's important for us to, first of all, look at very critical relationships in our lives. And I'm going to go to the question, what are the signs that you see when you, that require that you begin to terminate those relationships? I feel it's important for us to look at 3 to 4 of the most critical relationships in our lives and why these relationships are important, the value that we get from these relationships, and then, what are the telltale signs that it's time for us to end this relationship. So the very first relationship that I want to talk about is your intimate, romantic, or marital relationship. So your intimate relationships, your romantic relationships, or your marital relationships. And this, in my opinion, is one of the most emotionally and spiritually binding relationships. It binds you emotionally, it binds you spiritually, and it impacts your mental health. It influences your purpose. It influences your parenting, your nuclear family, your self-esteem. It affects your self-worth, your self-confidence. It influences your self-belief, your sense of identity, your peace, and your long-term destiny. And peradventure, if there's a misalignment here in your romantic, intimate, and marital relationship, it will sabotage your destiny, sabotage your purpose, sabotage your mandate. It will steal your peace. It will steal your happiness. It will affect your growth and your personal evolution. That's intimate and romantic relation. The second most important relationship is your family. That's your biological relationships. This one, you never chose this one. You were born into this family. Now, this includes your parents, your siblings, and when you marry, right, your in-laws. Now, this relationship is very, very key because it shapes your identity. This relationship, family shapes your values, your core values, your core beliefs, and then it is what influences your childhood traumas. Yeah. Your patterns and every program that you're running. It's often hard, very difficult to separate from this very one because of the heritage, because of the cultural ties, because of the traditional ties, because of the social ties, because of the emotional ties. I mean, these were the guys that you were born into that environment. And these are the guys that you see 24/7 or you're with 24/7. So there's a very, very, very tight, bond with family. The third relationships, is friendships. Yeah. These ones, they influence your decisions, they influence your mindset, they influence your emotional well-being, they influence your status. I often say to people, show me your friends and I will accurately predict your future. Now, friendship can shape you, it can sharpen you, it can suffocate you, it can destroy your vision, and it can affect your potential. And the fourth one is, professional relationships or business relationships. Now, these include business partners, includes business mentors, includes, your superiors, includes your employers, includes your colleagues, includes your clients and your customers. And this relationship, they shape your career trajectory, your financial destiny, and your status and your reputation. And a poor alignment here can cause burnout, betrayal, and stagnation. So, coming to the question, why would someone, right, need to end these relationships, even though these four relationships that I've identified, right, they are very critical. So, what are the telltale signs and why would you need to end this relationship? The very first reason is abuse and toxicity. Abuse and toxicity. Now, emotional, mental, financial, or physical or spiritual abuse is a red sign. And once you begin to experience emotional toxicity and abuse, mental abuse, financial abuse, physical abuse, spiritual abuse, it will drain your life if you stay there. It will violate your destiny if you stay there. It will kill your purpose if you stay there. The second reason and the signs that you will see is misalignment of your purpose, misalignment of your vision, misalignment and violation of your values. So when you are in a relationship where you are going is different from where they are going, the purpose for which you were created is different from the purpose for that relationship. Your vision and your core values are different. It's time to walk away. You know, the Bible says, can two walk together except they are in agreement? Walking together without agreement breeds constant frustration. Amos 3:3. Your growth, your progress is predicated upon this. You know, and life is about progress. Life is about growth. And so when you start feeling stifled, when you start feeling like you're no longer progressing, when you start feeling like you're not growing, this is the time where you need to begin to consider. When you start experiencing irreconcilable differences, it's time for you to consider to end it. The third reason, right, is, when your dignity, when your reputation and your honor is being destroyed. You are now, when people are beginning to resent you, when people are beginning, to dishonor you, when they begin to dim your light, where you're supposed to be celebrated, and this is the time to exit. Yes. And also, seasons come and seasons go. It's not every relationship that is supposed to last forever. Certain relationships that are for seasons. And then there are certain relationships that are for a reason. So some people are not meant to be on that full journey with you. It's like a scaffolding. When you want to build a house, right? And you put a scaffolding, or you want to paint a high story building, and you install a scaffolding. That scaffolding is to help the laborers, the painters, and the people that are renovating that building or building that building, right? They're supposed to help them do what they are supposed to do within the season that they're supposed to do it. Once the house has been painted or renovated or built and the construction is over, what do? You bring down all the scaffolding because it's no longer useful. It will even begin to disfigure the beauty of the property. So there are phases, there are seasons, there are functions, and there are fundamentals for relationships. So there will always be a reason for certain relationships. Once the reason is fulfilled, it's time to bring down the scaffolding. Their purpose is fulfilled, right? If it's for a season, the purpose is fulfilled. And then there are times when you are spiritually led. Hey, Makara Bradonska. Intuitively, this relationship is going nowhere. Sometimes God moves people out of your life for the next level. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And obedience may be required. Separation obedience may be required for your next level. That's right. So if God tells you, Omo, it's time for you to shift, you will see that things will begin to get, untidy. Oh, yes. One crisis or the other, one conflict or the other, one frustration or the other. Things that you plan together that used to cruise on. And you just find that, man, there's problem day. No matter how important those relationships are, no matter how critical those relationships are, it's not every relationship that you must hold on to forever. Well, like I said, relationships can make you or relationships can destroy you. And if you do not know how to manage your relationships, whether they are professional relationships or, their personal relationships, it will really, 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 really affect you. So, when you have a professional relationship, right, it's important how you manage those relationships. And it's important how to end those professional relationships gracefully and protect your reputation. Very, very important. The very first thing is when you're in those relationships, professional relationships, make sure that, you deliver. Make sure you have integrity. Make sure you deliver. Make sure you have integrity. Make sure you deliver. Let them know you for something. Let your light shine. Let it be so that when you are leaving, you are leaving a gap. Let it be, felt that when you have to exit, they will feel it. But make sure that you disengage right. Make sure that that reputation that you have built, you protect it. And how do you now, end those professional relationships? Number one, you must document and formalize the process. Yes, you must document and formalize it. So if you've worked so well with the board and you are the CEO, or you work so well with a CEO and you are his executive assistant, or you are the COO or the CFO, first thing you want to do is you want to sit with your board, your chairman, or your CEO and have the conversation with them. Give them a long notice. So if you are going to leave in a year, sit them down and let them know that within a year's time, you are leaving, and it's important for us to put a transition plan, a succession plan in place. Have that conversation first, informally. Informal conversation. Let them understand the reason why you have to leave and let them buy into it. They will try and convince you to stay. But when you have a conviction that it's time for you to leave, stick with it and say to them that, you know what, you've been praying about it, and that it's time for you to leave. Perhaps you want to start your own thing. Perhaps you want to move to something better. Perhaps you want to move out of the country. Give them that 1 year's notice and then send them a formalized notice or a letter. Be specific about the reasons why you are exiting. Stay legal, not emotional. Very, very important. Stay legal and not emotional. The second thing that you've got to do that is you have to exit with professionalism. Now, what does the company policy say? Give the required notice. In fact, give more than the required notice. Make sure you offer transition support, a succession plan, if you are a very critical member of that organization. Keep emotions out of business decisions. Let them know that and make sure that, as you articulate and communicate your exit, it is not for emotional reasons. Make it about a business decision, about a professional exit. Yes, a career exit. Number three, never burn bridges. Never burn bridges. Today's junior colleague may be your CEO tomorrow. Your CEO today may be your CFO tomorrow. It depends on what kind of company you're going to start, what kind of company you're going to work for. Always leave doors open, even if you may never return. even if you may never have any business transactions with them, but you can never say never. Always leave the doors open. Leave on a good note. The next thing you want to do is you want to maintain confidentiality and class. My God, you want to maintain your dignity, your class, but you want to maintain confidentiality. Please don't gossip. Please don't slander your former employer, your former boss, or your former partner. Zip your mouth. Your reputation and other people's professional reputation is their most valuable CV. Let me take that again. In the professional setting, your reputation and other people's reputation is the most valuable CV, meaning that, you know what, never say anything negative about the organization, never say anything negative about your colleagues, never say anything negative about your superiors, never say anything negative about your subordinates. Keep it professional, no gossip, no slandering of your former employers, your former colleagues, because their reputation is all they have in the professional space. Yeah, so how can you end romantic relationships? How can you end marital relationships without bitterness, without pain? How can you do it peacefully, and how can you do it amicably? Honestly, this one is a very, it's a very difficult one because it has emotions involved. And the very first thing that you must do, right, is you must seek clarity and closure first. So don't ghost, don't just disappear. Sit down and respectfully communicate the why. It will be difficult conversation. Don't have an emotional conversation. Break down the why. Explain the effect on you. Don't point fingers and blame anybody. You take it upon yourself and say, this is how this relationship has been affecting me. The effect of this relationship on me. Respectfully communicate why you. Also, be very emotionally honest, but don't be brutal. You want to be as emotionally honest as possible, but don't be brutal. You have to speak truth with tact, not cruelty. Let me take that again. You have to speak your truth with tact, not cruelty. You have to be emotionally honest, but don't be brutal. Very, very important. This is not your time to hurt anybody else. This is your time to exit well. So don't make it about anybody else. Make it about you. Why you have to leave, the effects on you. And if you do not leave, what will happen to you? Yeah? Now, the second thing is make sure you don't blame. Make sure you don't point fingers. Yes, certain things happen at certain times, but this is how it has affected you. This is how it's affecting you. This is how it's affecting your mental health, your spiritual health, your physical health, even your profession and your career. Use I feel statements instead of you always accusation. This is how I feel. This is what's going on with me. Not you have always this, you never do this. Don't point fingers, don't use accusations. Focus on your own personal boundaries, not on other people's failures. The reason why you have to leave is because of A, B, C, D. And you need therapy, you need work, you need to heal, and you need to set boundaries around yourself because you need to choose yourself. Don't point out other people's failures. The third thing that you need to do is you may need mediators. You may need mediators, and you may need a therapist, you may need a coach, you may need a mentor, you may need a spiritual leader who gets it. Now, the reason why is there may be tension that you may need to, yeah, because sometimes These things are so tough. They're not as easy as we say. So you may need someone that will calm all the nerves down, that will get everybody to listen and listen to the other party's perspective. The fourth thing that you want to do is you want to ensure that you detach gradually where possible. When you are in a marriage and when you are in an intimate relationship, right, there are many other parties involved. In-laws that you have developed very tight relationships, you have become friends with them. In marriage, children. In certain situations, you have shared assets that are involved. You have to detach gradually and strategically. So sudden exits without structure can cause havoc and destruction. So your exit must be planned. Your exit must be strategic. Your exit must be systemic. Your exit must be structured. If not, your assets will suffer, your children will suffer, your relationships that matter may suffer. The next thing that you want to ensure you do at all costs, live with respect, live with dignity, live with honor, not hatred, not bitterness. Pray, bless, and release. Don't curse your past because it will block your future. Don't curse your past because it will wreck your future. So it is important for you to keep communication civil, especially in the situations where you have to co-parent. That's right. If you have to co-parent or more, you have to make sure that you get that right. You have to be very, very civil. Now, in the situation where we're not talking about, romantic or intimate relationships, when we are talking about friendship, and you realize that these friendships are draining you and they no longer align with your journey, right? How do you now terminate this one? You have to do a quick audit. You have to do a deep assessment and you have to acknowledge that, it is time for me to shift, right? Friendships expire, especially when we're evolving. And life is about evolution, especially where you're progressing. Life is about progress, especially when you're growing. Life is about growth. You see, people outgrow each other. So the guys that you were friends with in primary school, in secondary school, when you were living in Egbeda, and now, you become so successful here in Ikoyi, you travel abroad a lot, you try to keep those relationships. But those guys, are not exposed, they are not, and they keep dragging you back. It may not even be because of status, it may just be because you have grown beyond, their level of emotional intelligence, their level of intellect, their level of exposure. Friendships expire, especially if you are the one that has evolved, if you are the one that has progressed, if you are the one that has grown. And it is okay for people to grow apart. And it is okay to grow apart without bitterness. It is very, very okay. And it is important when you notice this, right? That you have these conversations are very, very necessary. Look, I'm in a different season in my life. I'm in a different time in my life now. And I am intentionally reevaluating my life. I'm intentionally evaluating my relationships. And being respectfully honest often preserves future respect. Now, the truth of the matter is that tomorrow you may need someone from your past. You may need their support or their endorsement for anything. Always make sure that you make people feel dignified and honored if you're going to terminate any relationship. With friends, practice the fade out method where that is safe. Gradually reduce contact There's some people that almost if you sit them down, you talk to them, that almost it's time for us to, divide our career and go our separate ways. It will break them. They just don't have that resilience. So you have to gradually reduce contact, especially if that person is not able to handle it, or if that person is volatile or violent, or if that person is a narcissist. Narcissists do not take separation well, especially if you are the one that terminates those relationships. So change access, but still love them. So let them not have that kind of access to you anymore, right? Another reason, another thing that you must consider when you are terminating relationships with friends is always avoid drama, whether it is private drama or whether it is public drama. Always avoid drama. Now people go on social media and end friendships. People go on social media and they air their dirty linen. You should not announce your breakup. You should not announce your conflicts, your disagreements on social. You've got to protect the sacredness of what you had, even if it's no more. It is so, so, so key for you to protect the person, for you to protect, the quality of your relationship. Very, very important. Now, we've spoken about how to terminate for friends. We've spoken about how to terminate for intimate relationships. How do you terminate for family? Yeah. How do you end relationships with family? And how do you still create harmonious boundaries without dishonoring your loved ones? You know, you, a lot of people feel that it's about confrontation. No, there's a difference between starting a conversation and confrontation. Start a conversation, express how their actions and their words, how they affect your peace, how they affect your growth, how they affect your mental health. Use gentleness. And most importantly, emotional intelligence. Don't spark guilt or don't elicit shame. Create emotional distance, not just physical distance. Create emotional distance, not just physical distance. Sometimes it's not just about cutting off. What? It's about creating space. Limit phone calls, limit text messages, reduce emotional access, and filter what you guys share. Whether you guys have family group chats, whether you guys have family meetings, reduce, filter. Another thing is always honor their position, even if you don't endorse their behavior. You can disagree and still remain respectful. So you guys may not agree, but it is important, very, very important that, you don't dishonor. Very key that you don't dishonor any member of your family. It is very, very important. Create that physical distance, create that emotional distance. Never dishonor them. Disagree or remain respectful. More so, avoid public dishonor. But again, avoid revenge. Keep your integrity intact. Set your boundaries. Be clear about your boundaries. But most importantly, you have to honor your own boundaries. When you set boundaries, honor those boundaries. Don't move and cave in. For example, I won't be attending events where abuse happens. Or I need time before I resume contact with you. This one, is family. So don't apologize for self-care, for choosing to protect, for choosing to protect your mental health. Don't apologize. Keep your boundaries boundary and honor your own boundaries. Look, it's important for you if you are the offender, if you are the offender and you need to apologize, it's important that you understand what apology really means. Apology means that you have identified, you have recognized where you have done someone wrong, and you are asking them to forgive you for what you have done and how you have made them feel. Very, very important. You know, when you do wrong, right? People get upset because they didn't expect you to be the one that would do it. Secondly, right, they stay upset because of how you made them feel, or how you made them feel and how you continue to make them feel. So you have to make things right on two levels, right? Acknowledge your error. I'm really, really sorry that I did this, and offer explanation. You were ignorant, you didn't intend for it to happen. That was not your intention, bloody, but explain, explain, explain. Don't justify your actions. You've done wrong, accept you're wrong, explain that you didn't know, speak very, very upfront. But most importantly, acknowledge how you made them feel and apologize for how you make them feel. The third thing is make sure it doesn't happen. Promise that it will never happen again, especially that particular one that hurt them, cut them deep. You right? Promise that it will never happen again. And do everything within your means and your power to make sure that it doesn't happen again. You know, you rebuild trust when a similar scenario presents itself and they're expecting you to fail and to fall, but you honor your promise. That's when they know he's one, genuinely is sorry, genuinely he's made restitution, genuinely he has changed. This situation has represented itself, but he did not act the same way. But as you're apologizing, right, ask them, how you can make it good for them. Ask them, what is it that you can do to make them feel better? And if they offer, honor what it is that they've asked for. We call it restitution. If they offer something in terms of this is what you need to do next time, this is what you shouldn't do, take it on board. And when the next time comes, make sure you honor their request. And that is how, really, truly, genuinely apologize. Thank you very much for that question. One of the greatest mistakes that many people make is to tie their identity and their essence to relationships. Honestly, before you married, you were who you were. You have to recognize that the relationship is not what made you who you are. It's not what defines, especially if it's not family, right? Where you bear that family name, okay? But even bearing that family name is a function of the name, the surname that you are called. Any other thing, right? Whether it's a professional relationship, whether it's a friendship, right? It doesn't define your essence and your identity. Identity is beyond a name. Identity is purpose. Identity is calling. Identity is mandate. Identity is your essence. It's just like before you gave birth and before you were a parent, you had an identity and an essence. Before you married, you had an identity and an essence. After, you still have the identity and essence. So it is important for you to understand that relationships are not meant to define your identity. God does. So every relationship, you have to see it as either a bridge, a ladder, or a limitation. And knowing that, sometimes you hold on and sometimes you let go is key. But the single factor, that is required in and out of relationships is wisdom. Because wisdom is what helps you know when to let go, how to let go, and how to begin to rebuild your life. You end matters more than why you end it. Hmm. Now, what happens to you after you end it is equally as important. Now, if you live in peace and you know, right, and you are living purposefully, you know what your next chapter is, you know what your next assignment is, you know what your next mandate is, you are in line with your purpose. You know is that is your purpose, is your mandate, is your essence that defines your identity, not that person. It is your purpose, it is your mandate, it is your essence, it's your calling that defines your identity, not that person. Hello? So don't allow people to pollute your identity and your essence. Don't allow the pain that you would experience when you break up those relationships to color or contaminate or pollute your essence and your identity. It's important for you to bless every relationship. It's important for you to add value in every relationship. It's important for you to derive value in every relationship. Yes, relationships are supposed to add to you, but they don't make you. Only God makes you. Relationships are supposed to add value to you as you journey on your purpose life, as you walk your path, to your destiny. God will send people that are destiny helpers. God will send people that are midwives. They did not impregnate you. Destiny helpers did not give you that destiny. They're supposed to support you. So they shouldn't define your identity. A midwife does not define the identity of that child that they help you give birth. And so you have to live from a higher place of existence. You have to realize that you are not enslaved and your identity is not tied to people, only to God and to your purpose. So even though you exit in peace, exit in love, and walk boldly because the next phase of your life is ahead of you. Oh, yeah, the next season of your life is ahead of you. Oh, yes. And you have to be unapologetic about it. You owe only one person. You owe only one person, you know, your destiny, God, nobody else. Your purpose, God, nobody else. Your calling, God, nobody else. Your mandate, God, nobody else. Honestly, one of the things that is so important in relationships is knowledge and understanding of people. Knowledge and understanding of the dynamics of your relationships. Knowledge and understanding of people's level of emotional intelligence or lack of emotional intelligence. And honestly, you would already know this type of a person, that this guy, this chick or this girl weaponize it. And this is her tactic. It won't be the first time, it won't be the second time. And so you have developed coping mechanisms. You should have developed coping mechanisms. And in fact, I'm sure that this is one of the reasons why you want to end those relationships. So it's not even about your point of view. Honestly, your point of view is not the issue. It is about how you feel. Don't make it about your point of view. Your point of view is going to bring conflicts. It's going to bring arguments. It's going to bring contention. No, 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 no. Don't go in with contention. It's about choosing to preserve your sanctity. It's about choosing to preserve your peace. It's about choosing to preserve your mental health. It's about choosing yourself and caring for your wholeness and your well being. It's not about point of view. It's about your mental health. It's about your physical health. It's about your emotional health. It's about your spiritual health. Make it about that. Make it about, you have a right to defend yourself. You have a right to protect yourself. You have a right to set clear boundaries. Yes, it's your right. Because at the end of the day, it's your life. So If they weaponize, if they do not get your point of view, you must set those boundaries and honor your boundaries. I mean, you have tried to be the mature one to, have the conversations with them. But honestly, it's not everybody that you can really have conversations with. Remember that I said that there are some people that gradually you begin to withdraw from. Oh, yeah. Some people gradually you begin to withdraw from them. You begin to put boundaries in place such that you're no longer emotionally available for them. You're no longer physically available for them. When they call you, it's your prerogative whether you want to pick it or not. When they text you, your prerogative whether you want to block them, whether you want to respond to those text messages or not. Honestly, you've got to choose, self-care. You've got to protect yourself. Yeah, narcissist, right? Narcissist is a different ball game. With a narcissist, honestly, you've got to find someone that they respect or people that they respect. Build your case, present your case, having built your case. Present your case to someone that you respect, they respect, and they will listen to. Make it about your own personal safety. Make it about the emotional protection and safety of the children. Make that point. Never point fingers and accusation fingers against the narcissist. Just say that you own it. You own the reason why you need to exit. You're breaking down. You feel like you're losing your mind. You feel like you feel like you're not productive. You feel like you're not fully optimal. Make it about you. Give the reasons why you, right, feel like you need help and you need to take time out to get help. What you want to do is you want to find, reasons, to go and get help. You want to find reasons to exit and separate and make sure that, you go and get help for your mental and emotional health. Make it about that. Make it about the sanctity and the sanity and the emotional health of the children. Don't make it about the narcissist. You make it about the narcissist will be nasty. Yes, the more you make it about the narcissist, the nastier the narcissist will be. So, be very smart. With narcissists, you almost have to be cunning. You use the wisdom of the serpent. Yes, so that you must be as harmless as a dog. So I want to thank everyone that is listening to us tonight. I hope you've taken one or two things away from this conversation. And if this conversation has added any value to you, then you want to listen to the replay and you want to share with everybody you know. And for those that are going to be watching this on my podcast, you also want to share it with everybody you know.
I am successful. I look for and find opportunities where others see nothing. I am a lifetime learner. I am solution focused. I see only solutions. I am a solution.